Welcome everyone to Blaugrana Planet, welcome back to a new video, and today we are gonna be talking about the dream front three of Joan Laporta and Mateu Alemany, also about the new Frenkie De Jong. It seems that we are recovering Frenkie, still obviously a second half of the season to come, and also the renewals of Araujo and Gavi, critical players of this team. So without further ado guys, let's get on to the front three. I mean, imagine this front three of Erling, Haaland, Ansu Fati, and Ferran Torres. I mean, there's no words. This would be a killer front three, and a front three that can last you for at least a decade. An impressive, talented, young, enthusiastic front three that's gonna make every Barça fan dream like crazy. I mean, in fact, this front three is gonna be incredible. But obviously there's gonna be collaterals. What is the collateral damages of this front three? Well, some players are gonna have to be departing, and other players that just arrived possibly gonna be benched, such as Aubameyang, Adama Traoré, etc. But some other players are gonna have to be departing. And for example, Mr. Memphis Depay, who just arrived this last summer, most probably is gonna have to be leaving because Aubameyang is now in front of him. Haaland would be certainly in front of him, and Ansu Fati, when he comes back, is gonna be in front of him. I think that Adama Traoré fits very nicely on that side and is certainly in front of him in terms of winger position. And I think that now Aubameyang, obviously in the number 9 position, is also ahead of him. Therefore, Memphis Depay getting harder and harder. He's a player that arrived with a lot of energy, started very well the season, I must say. I think that we were all very impressed with Memphis Depay. His level has been diminishing, and now mixing with the injuries is not going well. He's actually not an incredible center forward, neither an incredible winger, and I think that doesn't really fit Xavi's mentality. In fact, since Xavi arrived, we haven't seen that Memphis Depay shine. Also, he has a short contract. His contract is ending on June 2023. Therefore, if Barcelona want to make cash on the player, they're gonna have to sell the player this summer or possibly next winter. The problem, if you wait for next winter, then he will only have 6 more months of his contract. Therefore, his value is certainly going to be lower than what it is now. Therefore, if we want to make cash on Memphis Depay while we still can, we should sell him this next summer. The other player that's going to be possibly leaving, but actually has a longer contract because it's Braithwaite. He has a contract until June 2024. Bartomeu, I mean, we all clapped to Bartomeu. What he did there was a bit odd, giving this player a patch of a player, giving him a pretty long contract. And Braithwaite, again, he is behind Aubameyang, behind Memphis Depay, behind obviously Ansu Fati, behind obviously Haaland, etc. And he's neither a good center forward, neither an extremely good winger. I think a mediocre player overall. It's a bit odd that he's in Barcelona, but you know what? He's here and he has a contract. But Barcelona are going to put him on the market for sure. I mean, that is for sure. At the end of the day, Xavi appreciates his will in the training, his sacrifice, but doesn't see a future for the player in the club. Moving on to Luuk De Jong, Luuk De Gold, Luuk De Goal, Luuk De Tronc. We had so many games for Luuk De Jong. I think that Luuk De Jong is obviously a player that just doesn't fit the scheme of Barcelona. Xavi's Barça just doesn't work with a player like Luuk De Jong. But I must say that when Luuk De Jong was practically dead, he came back. He scored 3 goals in a row in 3 matches. In fact, important goals as well. I give him the credits. He came for a season, guys. Let's not be dramatic. He came for a season. He's going to be leaving at the end of the season, 100%. Therefore, I think that, you know what, chapeau to this man. He did his job. A lot of critics, it's difficult to overcome this kind of critics. And I think that Luuk De Jong, he deserves a clap. He deserves a motivation. And he doesn't deserve a big of a critic because he arrived with on the hand of Ronald Koeman, and Ronald Koeman lasted what he lasted, and Luuk De Jong is here but he's probably going to be suffering the collateral damage. Players that are going to be departing, making space for probably Erling Haaland. Is a dream, guys. It's a dream coming true, and I think that is possible. Now with the Spotify deal, etc., we're going to have the money. We need to make space in the wage bill. If we sell Memphis Depay, for example, for 20 million, that's also going to be accounted as revenues, and he's going to leave another space for the wage bill, including the revenues, which are also going to be incrementing the financial fair play. Therefore, it's going to be interesting. Braithwaite, add that to the equation. Therefore, tic-tac. In terms of Frenkie, guys, Frenkie De Jong, I think that is a player that we were losing. A player that I think we're starting to recover now. He had a really good game against Alaves with a critical goal, by the way, a goal that gave us the 3 points in a game that was a bit boring for some. I think, it's a suffered game. And also, he played really well against Atletico. The last game that we had, he didn't do an incredible showcase, but he did do pretty well. And in fact, look at the stat. He did have 68 interventions in that game with 59 passes with an accuracy of 92%. 11 duels won and 3 successful dribbles. For a player like Frenkie De Jong, I think it was a successful game. And there is a thing that with Frenkie De Jong, I think that he's a mentally very strong player, but also very sensible, right? So by mentally strong, I mean that he has a lot of will and he has a lot of courage. I remember when Laporta came down to the dressing room after we were defeated in El Clásico, and Laporta gave like a motivational speech saying, look, Barcelona is very proud of you and we must keep going. Well, Frenkie De Jong was in fact very pissed off and actually very unhappy about those comments, because he shared in public and he made us feel like, look, we should never be proud of losing. And that shows the determination that this player has. The critics affected him for sure, but I see that he's overcome the situation and now he's coming back. I think Xavi is doing a good job with him, and we must reinforce our players. I understand we are very demanding here in Barcelona, but criticizing our players sometimes is like stabbing ourselves in the back. It doesn't make much sense. I think that Frenkie De Jong is going to have a good second part of the season. I really cross my fingers he does. For example, last season he did score 7 goals and assisted 8. This season he only scored 2 and assisted 2. He needs a very good second half of the season in order to level up with the first season of Football Club Barcelona. But I have hopes in him, although the pressure is certainly on him. I mean, looking at the stats, and all the eyes are on the player. But we must trust our players, guys, and support. Same thing, remember what happened to Coutinho? Critics, and then he never came back with his level. Now he's in Aston Villa and he's not doing bad at all, actually. Obviously, I think Premier League football suits him better. Anyways, let's jump on to Gavi and Araujo, guys, because these two players are right now very, very close to renewing. Ronald Araujo, possibly the renewal that is going to take a bit longer, because he has an agent that's pushing. He's 22 years old, by the way, so he's more mature. There is interest from Chelsea, from Manchester United, possibly some other teams as well. And there are offers arriving for the player. Right now, he's earning the least in the squad. So from the players that have the first team contract, so they're in the first team, basically, they're registered in the first team, Araujo has the lowest contract. Right? Obviously, he just jumped from the second team into the first team, and he needs to have a better contract, right? His release clause actually increased to 200 million when he arrived for the B team, which was a signing for the B team originally. He only had 100 million. When he jumped into the first team, it jumped to 200 million, right? So this release clause, but obviously he deserves a crack level salary, right? Top player level salary. And he will get it. Possibly not as much as Ansu Fati or as Pedri. I mean, you're talking about the 10 of Barcelona and the Golden Boy. I think Araujo, certainly, if Ansu Fati and Pedri are getting 4.5, you get Araujo 4 million, we're happy. In terms of Gavi, guys, I think Gavi Obviously, he's 17 years old. We must be calm. Let's not give this player 4 million euros. We can wait a bit. Give him 5-year contract. By the way, I think both players are going to have a 5-year contract until 2027. Just for your information, Gavi signed his first professional contract on August 2020. Right? He's been in Barcelona since 2015, but you know, when you're in the academy La Masia, really you don't have a professional contract until you jump into the juvenile or the second team, right? So Gavi does have this contract now, but he's earning only 100k a week. Sorry, 100k a year. That is pretty much nothing for the kid. Well, it's gonna jump to 2 million euros. 2 million euros is what Barca offered him, and it's gonna be signed in the next few days. And it seems that everything is going on the right track for this renewal. So guys, that's all from today. I know I'm not in my studio. Things are a bit harder. I'm traveling, but I'm always being here for you guys, trying to give you the best news. And obviously, guys, let me know what you think about all that I commented. Do you think that it's fair that we get rid of Memphis? It's a good opportunity, I believe. In terms of Braithwaite and Luuk De Jong, obviously, they need to leave the club. It's obvious. Gavi Araujo, future of Barcelona, as well as Pedri, as well as as well as Ferran Torres, for example, as well as Eric Garcia. There's so many players, Nico. There's so many players that are gonna mark an era in Barcelona, and if we can just bring Erling Haaland, then chapeau. I think we will have everything pretty much set, and obviously Xavi Hernandez in the bench. Incredible. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining the family. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell notifications. And as I always say, Visca el Barça, Visca Catalunya, and see you in the next video.